the Wonder Ship, the Titanic, the most infamous boat in history, was sunk due to poor communication lines. It didn't receive messages in that they were near icebergs from other vessels because the communication systems weren't advanced enough. We're going to look in this video how you can use Slack and keep your business's boat or head above water. So let's jump into it now. How to manage Slack. My top 4 tips. So who's going to use this? Remote leaders. How? I'm going to show you the 4 tips further in the presentation. Why? You want to create clear, streamlined communication to avoid errors like Titanic. When? Before users begin on Slack, which will be covered in the how. So the first one is you want to help people before they engage on Slack is to provide a handbook or a company guideline when onboarding. This includes both staff and vendors and contractors. So everything in these videos I'm either done or doing. And currently this is what I'm going to discuss in my meeting tomorrow. So this for me is a work in progress. But what it is you'll have it in the subjects you want to cover. So it's responding or attentiveness. It's call to actions. So talk about that further as well. How they use channels. It's essentially how you want your Slack set up, and you get very clear on what you want the standard rules and practices for your business on Slack. Next off, you want to create channels per subject matter. So you can see in here, you have one for hiring, you could have one for marketing, you could have one for events, for your events, you could have one for a new member, introing them. So this divides up. So when you go back to look for something, say you want to look for something in marketing, you go back to that specific channel and you can find that on a certain topic. The next thing you might want to consider doing is creating folders. So in here, these have got several channels. And as you can imagine, that would create, say, over 50 channels, which would be getting quite difficult. This is a more advanced step, but it can really help as well when you're in a lot of channels. So the third thing is tag one person at a time. This is when you're asking for something, you're requesting something. Often I see 2 people tagged and no one responding because no one knows to respond. So where possible, always ask for one person when having a request or a call to action. This will save a lot of time wasted following up. So number 4 is encouraging your team members to still have radio silence. So it's really important in remote work that you don't keep getting dopamine hits. It gets very exhausting and it's going to tire out your team and yourself very quickly. The other thing is interrupted work is horribly inefficient, just terrible. There mightn't be anything worse than interrupted work to productivity, and you don't want to spread that across your entire team. So you can see the example here from the book, The One Thing, and this is very true. Can't do it. I did want to put 20x here, but I wasn't too sure. I think that was from the book. But look, if it was 20x, I just wouldn't be surprised. For every 1 interrupted minute, you lose 20. It's that bad, it's that severe, and it's a real, I think it's a pandemic in the millennial society and maybe other generations. But this, the dopamine rush we're getting is also very exhausting. So why do you need to run Slack properly? It's misalignment. People are getting misaligned, things get missed. There's too many distractions. There's too many dings and red buttons going up everywhere. Control that. You want to be able to solve problems. So they need to be able to see the problems and remove the roadblocks. And once again, it comes back to team building. If they can enjoy their time more on Slack, everyone wins. When should you do this? It's best before they begin on your Slack, aka rules of engagement. We talked about in the handbook, however you want to cover the rules of engagement for your team, they being any staff or contractors. Troubleshooting, people are not replying because of notifications. Sometimes they don't get notifications. If someone does that, tell them to get to the root cause of it. They may have to contact Slack themselves, but everyone is on Slack, I assume, is over 18. So they're a big boy or girl and they can work it out and sort it out themselves. They may have to contact Slack if it's not working, but they need to work it out. The other gotcha there is they may have a Slack on mobile and computer, desktop computer. Yeah, that's a bit of a tricky one because Slack mobile isn't that good an app. You do lose notifications on it. So I would recommend not having it on mobile. Once again, it's another distraction that I don't think you need. Keep work for work where possible. People are not replying because of attitude, time management. So if it's an attitude problem, you have to go back to a high level business initiative and have a talk to them. If it's time management and they're too busy with their work, you, particularly those in a leadership role and management role, need to go back and converse with them, work out how they could manage their time better and give them more freedom. Maybe encourage windows of when they are actually online, block out their day, much like the radio silence, have a time for radio silence and a time for Slack. Recap, so onboard them with a handbook or a set of rules, create channels or even subfolders, tag one person at a time, tagging two never really does much. We'll add it in right now, is radio silence. So encourage radio silence where possible, stop the dopamine rushes, stop the fractured, horrible work. Productivity, just terrible. Get rid of it, stupid, and get on with your day, get the work done, get results and build relationships. Cheers.